The last data type I'm going to talk about here is the data frame. The data frame is a key data type used in R, and it's used to store tabular data. So of course, tabular data make up a lot of what we use in statistics. Of course, not all types of data are tabular, but because so much data becomes in tabular form, data frames are very important in R. So data frames are basically represented as a special type of list, where every element of that list has the same length. Right? So you can think of each column of the data frame as an element of the list, and of course, in order to be a table, every column has to have the same length. However, each column doesn't have to be the same type. So the first column could be numbers, the second column could be a factor, the third column could be integers, the fourth column could be logicals. It doesn't matter what the different types are. Um, so unlike matrices, which have to store the same type of object in every single element of the matrix, data frames can store objects of different classes. And so data frames also have some special attributes. The first special attribute is called a row name. So every row of a data frame has a name. And this can be useful for kind of annotating the data. So for example, each row might represent a subject enrolled in a study, and then the row names would be the subject ID, for example. However, sometimes the row names are not interesting, and often you'll just use row names of 1, 2, 3, etc. Data frames can be created by most often calling the read.table or the read.csv function, and we'll get into that a little bit when I talk about reading data into R. And you can also create a matrix from a data frame by calling the data.matrix function. Now you can't, if you have a data frame that has many different types of objects, and then if you coerce that into a matrix, it's going to force each object to be coerced so that they're all the same. So you may get something that's not exactly expected. So data frames can be created, besides using read.table or read.csv, you can use the data.frame function. And here I've created a very simple data frame where the first column is the foo variable, and the second column is the bar variable. The foo variable is an integer sequence from 1 to 4, and the bar variable is a logical vector with 2 trues and 2 falses. So when I auto print the data frame out, you'll see it prints out the 2 columns, and here the row names, since I didn't specify any special row names, it just defaults to 1, 2, 3, 4 because there's 4 rows. And then when I call the nRow function on X, I see that there's 4 rows, and the nCall function shows me that there's 2 rows.